Today we are going to be discussing 5 different unique cold email campaigns that practically any business can install to start generating meetings through cold email almost instantly. These campaign strategies are meant to be broadly applicable, meaning that almost any different type of business can start building these campaign strategies out. And they're also not meant to be super complex or hard to build either. Think of these as the foundational campaigns that you should be running when you're first starting cold email, or if you're struggling to book meetings through cold email. The 4th campaign strategy is my personal favorite. It is the one that we are running consistently and seeing great results for across almost all of our clients right now. Quick one on me. My name is Andrew Garner. I'm the founder and CEO of Auto Outbound. We build, install, and manage high volume cold email systems for mature B2B companies in large markets with high client lifetime values. Without further ado, let's get into the first campaign. Real quick here, we have the 5 campaigns that you can instantly install to start booking 20 plus new meetings a month if you're a B2B company in a large market with high client lifetime values. I'll walk you through the 5 different campaigns, what they are, the problems that they solve, and why it works. This first campaign is one of my personal favorites, and it's something we'll install almost immediately for any new client to quickly get them some fast wins. This is called the reactivation campaign. This one is a very simple campaign. It's basically reactivating the leads that you guys have already generated at a certain point. We typically do every 90 days, where you're reaching out to every lead that went cold, every lead that didn't book a meeting, every opt-in that you guys have ever received, and you are basically following up with a relevant message. You're providing authority, you're providing value and showing authority, but you're also checking in, right? You're looking for that timing piece. You've already built that trust with them. Maybe they didn't close for one reason or the other at that time. Maybe they didn't book for one reason or another, but they are likely going to be in market at some point. So with the reactivation campaign, the way we run it is every 90 days, we're reaching back out to every lead that went cold on us. We're checking in with a super simple email. We're not pitching them. We're not running a sequence. It is a single email, really just looking to capture that timing and then maybe make them feel a little bit of FOMO. When we work with clients, what we do is we actually have them, if we're not integrated directly into their CRM, we'll have them pull all the old leads from their CRM, as well as context on any specific leads that might need specific messaging. Maybe there was a super hot lead. Maybe this lead didn't close because of this specific reason, and we can work that into our messaging. But at a high level, we are going to hit everybody who needs to be reactivated and say, basically, hey, thinking of you, have you solved XYZ problem? We just helped XYZ company last month achieve ABC outcome. So you want this case study, you want to show like, hey, we're getting results and they're recent. These aren't results from a year ago, not 2 years ago. This is a new company that we just worked with and got them these results. Make them feel that FOMO. It reminds them that you're here, you're a serious business, you are going to check in with them. It keeps you top of mind, it builds trust, and it lets you show off wins. It's a great campaign. And then again, of course, you'll be the first in line when that customer is ready to revisit your solution. The problem it solves is there is revenue in your CRM at all times. The reason that is not being captured is because you haven't built systems to go and capture that revenue. There are leads that didn't close for a whole host of reasons. Maybe it was you, but it maybe was timing. It maybe was budget. It maybe was that they wanted to try somebody else and now it's been 3 months and they didn't get the results they need. How do you know if you don't ask? That's the whole point here, right? You guys are spending money to acquire leads, and then when you don't sell those leads, you don't actually have a system to sell back to them over time. You're constantly spending on new acquisition, cold traffic channels, as opposed to capturing a lot of that revenue in-house. Why this works, again, there's a whole host of reasons why people maybe didn't choose to work with you. They didn't say no to you, it was no to the timing. Budget close, mid-contract, wrong quarter, or other priorities. Things change every 90 days, right? Contracts expire, budgets reset, and pains get worse. Because they already know you, you will see reply rates 3 to 10 times higher than traditional cold outreach. We've seen it up to 10 and even higher, depending on the company. But the most important thing here is that you are showing your prospects that you have a good system in place. This is great if you sell lead gen like myself, because you actually can show them, hey, we build these types of systems for our clients. I'm an outbound guy, I'm going to follow up with you, showing you that I'm good at this, right? Okay, so do the same thing. Moving into campaign 2 here, the lookalike campaign. Again, very definitionally obvious type of campaign. What are we doing here? Very simple. We're building lookalikes of your best clients. Very detailed lookalikes. So every time you close a really great client, you get them a strong result, you want to ask yourself, who else looks exactly like this company? Same industry, same size, same pain point, same job titles, even when you start to get into the actual list building side. And then you want to have methods to build these lists. Disco-like, for example, is a great tool to be able to build solid lookalikes. This solves a very specific problem for companies who are generally just doing broad outreach. They haven't actually taken the time to study their ideal client persona and get them incredible results. They're wondering why they kind of have this roller coaster of growth, and it's because they'll grow. Maybe they sign a few bad fits and a few good fits. The good fits stay, the bad fits leave, and they're on this roller coaster, right? Unless you are taking the time to identify which clients are getting success and what are the very specific characteristics about them and how can we help solve them, and you're just reaching out to whoever and signing whoever. On top of that, you of course are just going to see better results from cold outreach when you can give a case study that looks very similar to a company you just supported, right? You can say this company was dealing with this problem, we helped them solve it and get this result. That's your entire message. It's very simple. So again, here you want to analyze your client profile, you want to identify similar companies, tailor your outreach specifically to them, and then just present the proof. Simplest message in the world. This is a campaign you can again update every 90 days, fill it with a list of a few thousand companies, and get to rip it. For example, I found over time that the companies that see the best success from our cold email campaign strategies, which is running high volume, being able to send thousands of emails every single day in a targeted and relevant and personalized manner, is companies who have a large market, right? They're selling into 100,000 plus people. They have high client lifetime value so that each deal is very material. They have a working sales process, right? So if we're generating leads, they have a way, they have reps, they have a team, they have CRM systems to take that from a lead, to take that from a marketing qualified lead to a sales qualified lead, and then convert it into a customer at a high clip. The problem this solves, again, is most companies close a great client, they get them great results, and then they immediately move on to find the next one. They never stop and actually ask who else looks exactly like this client. You know why this works. I don't really have to explain it, but just to make it super clear here, the proof is built directly into the targeting. You're not just claiming results, you're showing them the exact type of company that got them. You're not saying, hey, another company. You're saying, hey, we helped a company that looks just like you. Here it is. Here's the result they got. Do you want to see if we can do the same thing for you? Moving on to campaign 3, we have the open roles campaign. Now, the open roles campaign works really great for service-based businesses who can typically fill a hole in a company where they need to get a specific responsibility or role filled very quickly. When a company posts a job listing for a role with responsibilities that match your service offering, they are telling you that they have budget allocated, that they need support in your domain, and that they are actively investing in it right now. This campaign finds those companies and reaches out when budget is fresh and demand is high. I will say these type of campaigns are a little bit more complex to build out. You need access to some sort of scraper, think a LinkedIn job scraper, to be able to pull these lists of open roles and then actually go and find the decision maker at the company that you want to talk to. It's not terribly hard to do, but there is a little bit of a learning curve, and it's probably best for another video in general rather than getting into it here. Let's assume you know how to build these lists or that you can find the information available online. How this works is very simple. The company posts a job listing, right? You identify them before anyone else does, so you have systems in place to automatically refresh these job listings, these job boards, and have a system in place to push these campaigns live every single day or every single week to be able to hit these companies as soon as the job is posted. And you're finding the decision maker and you're reaching out directly. You're reaching out before they commit to a plan, and you're booking a meeting, even if it's just top of funnel, just introductory discovery, to see if you can actually fill that need for them. This campaign works really well, especially when your systems and your list building is in a perfect place to be able to actually hit them timely, right? A lot of job posts can become stale very quickly. Companies change priorities, spots get filled, internal referrals and recommendations get made, and decisions get done. So the quicker that you're getting in front of these people, the better you're going to do. And then why this works, hiring is a buying signal, right? They have budget available. Either somebody left and they're filling a spot, or it's a new role entirely. The budget is proved and the problem is urgent. Usually if you're hiring, they already have the need. Most companies don't actually hire ahead of demand. They're pretty much always running behind the ball. And so you can assume that this is a very urgent problem in their business, and you can actually convey that in your copy. Say, I know this is likely a big problem for you guys. Here's how we help solve it for another company. Here's how I can solve it for you. Number 3, they're in planning mode, so they are open to outside solutions. That's very common, especially if you can show them that you can do it at a lower cost or that it's easier for the hiring manager. You got to remember, when you're emailing people, they care about themselves oftentimes more than the company. So if you can show them that you can make their job easier, the better chance you're going to have. Campaign number 4, my favorite campaign, the new roles campaign. Very similar to the open roles campaign, great for service businesses. And again, very simple. This is targeting new decision makers in their first 90 to 180 days at the company. This is very obvious. If you're building a list of your entire market, over time that list becomes stale. People in your target market are changing jobs. When people come into a new job, especially at a mature building company that you want to sell into, they're often inheriting a bunch of shit. They have a ton of things that they want to change within the company. A lot of times they bring their own baggage with them, right? They'll bring their own accounting firms, they'll bring their own growth firms, but a lot of times they're open to new suggestions as well, especially because they might be entering a new market that they're not as familiar in. Maybe they're going from one industry to another. So our goal here is to really monitor job changes within our industry and be able to hit these people not immediately, but that 90 to 180 day window is perfect. It's when people start to get settled in their seat, and it's typically when they're going to be super open to taking discovery calls with new vendors to see how you can help. A good thing to do here is you can position yourself as an authority or expert in this space. And so you can say, we recently helped a new VP of sales in this industry, in the software industry, achieve XYZ within their first 365 days at this company. That's a great way to make it contextual to the individual and maybe ease some of that tension around them trying to prove themselves and move quickly when they actually enter a new company and they know that they need to move fast. Here is the missed opportunity cycle that you are probably dealing with when you are running outbound. You have an existing list of contacts and you keep emailing the same people at the same companies. Maybe you're refreshing your deliverability and you're getting more bounces because people leave companies, but you're not updating that list to go find new people and then having a specific message for them versus just your evergreen campaign, which we'll talk about next. This misses you being able to reach new decision makers when they're at their highest level of openness in terms of being pitched, right? As they start to settle into their role, get more comfortable, again, maybe bring some of that baggage with them from their prior companies or prior experiences, they will start to make those decisions and you show up too late to the game and you don't show up with a great offer for them because you weren't contextual. So it's all about the timing and it's about the relevance. Hitting them at the right time with a relevant message. Why this works, very simple. They just started. They often have zero loyalty to their existing vendors. They don't give a shit. If anything, they have more of a loyalty to the vendors that they worked with at their last company, but they also very well could have hated them and they're open to a new solution. Number two, they need to show results fast, so they're actively looking for solutions. Believe it or not, a lot of companies are shit shows internally. A lot of people are looking out for their best interests rather than the interests of the company. Obviously, you're in the best interest of both the person and the company, but for them to show that they are making changes, they're meeting with vendors, they're looking for solutions, it signals to the company and to their direct reports that they are invested in spending time and finding a solution, and you can present yourself as that perfect fix. Moving on to the last campaign, campaign number 5. This is the evergreen campaign. This is where you start to get volume. This is where you build a real system to actually get in front of your market every single 90 days. The other 4 campaigns are great. They are niche, they are relevant, they will help you craft a relevant message depending on new hiring activity, people moving jobs, case studies you've recently got, or old leads that you worked with. That forms a basis and a foundation for your signal or intent-based campaigns, but it's not going to get you the volume that you need to run the outbound system that you need to aggressively grow your business. This 5th campaign, the evergreen campaign, is what you tack on top to hit the existing volume and make sure that you have a system that can reach your entire total addressable market every 90 days. Most companies, they'll run campaigns, they'll build a list of a couple thousand, they'll send out some emails, and maybe they'll send 3 emails over the course of 12 days, and then it'll just stop. Inertia, momentum hits, maybe they didn't get the results that they wanted, and so they stop. What's important to note here is that when you build these small lists and you run these little tiny campaigns, you're not hitting your market. All those other campaigns, those 4 we just talked about, those other 4 campaigns, they should be a little bit more relevant, a little bit more high touch, a little bit more custom to the individual, but you're only hitting a percentage of your market. And when you run these little itty bitty campaigns, maybe you pull 1,000 leads from a pile and you think you're doing something, you're hitting a very small portion of your market. The truth and the fact of the matter is you need large scale distribution to get your name and your business in front of your target decision makers. About 3% of your market is ready to buy right now. The other 97%, they're ready to buy at some point. Maybe it's next year, maybe it's next month, maybe it's 5 years in the future, but you don't know that because you don't have a system to get in front of them. So if you go dark or if you're never hitting them, you miss the exact moment that they enter their buying window. And you ruin this by sending too many emails too fast to the same people or not hitting the people at all. So this evergreen campaign is super important because what we're doing here is we're mapping out your entire total addressable market. How many decision makers are actually in your market? And let's go find them. Let's find their email information. Let's find their phone numbers. This is an incredibly valuable asset that every business should have. It's called a market map. Obviously, this takes some list building skill as well. If you don't have a go-to-market engineer in your business, it is an incredibly important skill and an incredibly important asset that almost any business should have at this point in 2026. We obviously place a go-to-market engineer on every single client that we work with, along with a campaign strategist, where the go-to-market engineer is solely focused on building this market map for you and then finding the relevant information for these other campaigns, whereas your strategist is solely focused on copy. Anyways, once you have the market map, we are not going to run a sequence-based campaign where you send them 3 emails over the course of 12 days. We are going to build a system. Say you have 100,000 people in your market. We're going to build a system that can send 100,000 emails every 90 days, and you're going to send 1 email to every participant in your market. You're going to refresh that every 90 days. In this campaign, you can test plenty of different messaging. You can test plenty of different offerings. You can test a ton of stuff here, but the goal and the intent here is to remain top of mind. It's to have good, thoughtful messaging, and it's to provide value to your market. You'll capture people who are in their buying window 100% of the time. You will get positive replies, and they will get on the call with you and say, you actually hit me at the perfect time. We're actually looking to do XYZ. If and when you write good copy and you provide value to your market, that's when you'll actually generate demand above just the people who are in market. This is where the skill issue comes in of actually being able to write effective messaging, understanding cold traffic offers, and of course, deliverability. Can you actually send 100,000 emails without landing in spam? Which again, is a topic for another video. This campaign crushes because it is high volume, it is covering your market, you're going to surface in-market buyers, and if your messaging and your skills are good, you're going to generate demand above and beyond that. It's not uncommon when this campaign actually books the most meetings for our clients simply because of the sheer volume and the good messaging. These other campaigns, they're great, and they typically have higher reply rates and higher meeting booked rates, but on an absolute level, when you factor in the volume, the evergreen campaign typically takes the cake. That is it, guys. Those are the 5 campaigns that every B2B company should be running and should be installing into their business to basically guarantee that they can generate meetings through cold email. Of course, I want to be very clear. These campaigns are not easy to build out by any means, right? You need to have an understanding of how to build lists properly. You need to have an understanding of cold email deliverability, of how to optimize offers for cold traffic, how to write a good message, and how to actually send high volume. And then you need to have speed to lead to be able to reply to these leads as soon as they come in. Here's my offer to you. If you watch this video and you thought, that sounds incredible, I would actually love to run those 5 campaigns in my business, but I actually have no idea how to build those out. We will build and install this entire cold email system into your business, manage it for you for less than what it would cost for you to hire out the individual roles yourself. We'll map out your entire addressable market, and we'll build a system to cover it every single 90 days with effective offers and great messaging. We have best-in-class deliverability that's been trained from sending over 3 million emails every single month, and we know how to move fast. Instead of wasting months trying to figure out how to get this live, we'll have our first campaigns live and ready in just 2 weeks. Lastly, and most importantly, if you did like this video, please click the like button below and subscribe to the channel. I'll continue to post cold email and marketing videos in general and share what's working inside of our business.